All right, guys, we got 1 minute and we're going to start. It's going to go fast and furious. So if you have any questions or anything to the end where you can DM me or email me those. So this is going to be a jam-packed presentation. We're just waiting for a few more people to hop on. All right, we are right at 10:30, so we are going to go ahead and get started. I am so a few things that we're gonna go over in the webinar. If you saw my video, we're gonna go over what's market trends, what the market is doing, why it's doing that, how it's impacting your business and your clients, the lending side of things. Number two, we're going to go over client hesitations, kind of what we're seeing on the lending side of why clients aren't ready to, get the pre-approval or get their credit pulled or things of that sort. And then we're going to go over some objections and solutions for you. So when you're out in the field, you feel comfortable and confident and empowered and kind of have a little bit more knowledge of why things are going the way that they're going and what we do as a lender to help reduce that stress to our clients. So we are, let's see. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you. We're going to hop on to the market trend. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. Where are we at here? Okay. All right, so if you can see my screen, this is what we look at. So every day I pull this up. And now I don't want to go over a whole lot and teach you all the things of the bonds and the buying and the selling and make you nerdy that way. But this is very important. So when you have clients asking, what are the rates? Well, that's really a loaded question. So there's three things that we have to have in order to lock in an interest rate. One of them is a contract. We need to have the the address and the execution date and when the closing date is, because we need to know how long to lock it. So no lender out there can actually lock in an interest rate without an executed contract. So every client that we have that gets pre-approved, pre-qualified would do a pre-purchase consult. I go over this chart with them and all the charts that you're going to see today. So as you can see, there's a lot of red and green, and some are longer sticks, some are shorter sticks, and you can see the trend going up. So what I want you to understand about this chart is that the rates don't just move daily. They can move multiple times during the day. So for example, we have a little bit longer stick right here back on the 11th of January. That means it was a wider range in the good direction. So the red means good. Red means bad, green means good. So this is showing the bond market. So when the investors are coming and they're wanting to buy these bonds, as the bonds go up, then the rates are coming down. If the bonds go down, if the bonds go up, then the rates are coming down. If the bonds go down, the rates are coming up. So it kind of works as a teeter-totter. So as you can see, this is just over, since October. And I want to scan this back out the past 2 years. So the good thing is 2 years ago, there was a lot of investors wanting to buy these bonds. So the rates were really low. But as you can see, the trend was downward, drastically downward when the rates were going up. We had a little bit of a rebound. They kind of came back down. But then fast forward to October 26th, we hit peak interest rates. And so what we're seeing is we're actually seeing a relief and it's bouncing back. So that's why you are getting all this buzz of the rates are finally coming back down, is because these investors for the bonds are actually coming back out and buying these bonds, and there's an interest in that. These typically can go in correlation with the news. Back in December, the feds came out and said, we're going to lower the Fed rates 4 times in 2024. Now, the Fed rate doesn't have a direct correlation with the bonds, but it has an impact on that, because what happens is they're like, oh, this is going to be lower. So when they talk about the Fed rates is when the banks borrow from each other, such as your auto loans, your credit card payments, things of that sort, not necessarily your mortgage rate, but it does have an indirect impact on what the bonds will do. Typically, bond market does follow inflation. So the inflation was up, now it's coming back down. And so now we're going to see that trend of the rates coming back down as the bonds go back up. So it's very important right now, because of this, is to really stay in contact with your clients. If you have a client that closed in the past 12 months, get them on your radar, reach out to them, because what's happening is now that the rates are going back down, they're getting bombarded with phone calls from lenders, from banks. They're getting scammed. I mean, scammers are coming out of the woodworks, and guys, they're good. They're really, really good. I had a client just the other day sent me a letter saying, it says, from Benchmark, we are preparing for your refinance. We haven't sent anything. And so what happens is these clients are going to fall for it and get the little bit lower interest rate. It's going to eat up their equity. And then a couple years fast forward, when they look to sell that home, their equity is not as much as what it was if they would have waited. Today, right now, it's just not the right time to refinance, because these rates are going to continue to go down, and it's going to give them a better opportunity financially for them to refinance. So I watch this daily. I go over this with clients. And so I am starting to reach out to my database. You need to start reaching out with your database. The past 12 months, if they've closed, they're going to be getting phone calls, and it's up to you and I to reach out to them and prep them, because the last thing we want to do is for them to waste money and eat up their equity when it's just not the right time to refinance at this point. And it's going to give you a good opportunity, reaching out to them, see how they're liking the house, letting them know what's going on in the market. They're going to be getting phone calls and mailers and text messages, and just let them know, do not fall for that. And it'll also give you an opportunity to be in front of them and subtly ask them, hey, do you know, or maybe know someone that might be in the market to buy or sell soon, or, maybe down the road? Does anybody come to mind? And that is just a soft approach to maybe get a referral, because if you ask them, what are 2 or 3 people that you may know that are looking to buy and sell? Well, in their brain, they think, oh my gosh, I don't have 2 or 3 people. So they're just not going to say anything. But if you subtly ask them, hey, do you maybe possibly know anyone that might be buying or selling in the next, couple months or a year? Or they, maybe they talked about it, and they'll go in their brain and say, oh, my cousin Susie was actually talking to me about maybe getting their house prepped for selling it, or asking me questions about, what it could sell for. So these are referrals that you can get just by contacting them, doing them a service and a value, because a lot of people are like, okay, I have to add value to my client. I have to add value, but what does that value look like? Well, value is helping them with the biggest financial debt that they have and navigating them through that. This is something that we do with our clients. We do annual reviews. We do make sure they follow their home steps. These are values that we add to them. And this is a value that you can add to them as well. So I've also started posting on Facebook as of last week. You may or may not have seen it. Every week I'm going to be posting the rates, just the national rates, so you can start gauging that. If your clients have questions, those are something that you can go back and get a baseline for. Everyone is different. So that's important. And then let's see. So I'm going to switch this slide. So what we're also getting at is the 3 things that clients are really hesitant about moving forward. Like, they're literally sitting on the sidelines and they're just not moving forward. So when you go back into your database, you have your yeses, what they're wanting. You have your no's, so they're in another category, but your maybes, go through all of your maybes. The gold is in the maybes, because they don't know what's going on? These are people that are on the fence. They're trying to wait. They've waited it out. They don't know if they want to approve. And there's 3 reasons normally why that we're seeing that they haven't moved forward. One is because they don't want to get their credit pulled. They don't want to get a ding on their credit. They just don't want that. They don't want to get pre-approved because they don't know how long the pre-approval is going to last. And then number 3 is they're waiting for the rates to come down and the home prices to come down. So every pre-purchase consultation, we go through all of these. We show them the rates, how they move, so they know, Mr. Customer, I cannot lock in your rate until you go under contract. So the rate that I am estimating now on your pre-approval is not the rate that you are qualified for when you go under contract, because it could be different. So we prep them up front. These rates cannot be locked until you actually go under contract. So let me pull this up. This is our pre-purchase consult that we do. Okay, so you may or may not have seen this chart. It's really eye-opening whenever we start to explain it to our clients and things of that sort. So right now, our demographic and our clients right now are savvier and smarter than ever before. It is all the people that are coming into buying age and coming out of, the 18, 19 up year old, it is bigger than the baby boomers. So there's 20 million more births in this generation than there was with the baby boomers. So I always pull up this chart. And so looking back, so first of all, let me go back. So first of all, when they say, I don't want to get my credit pulled. Well, guys, we do a soft credit pull. It does not hurt your credit. It doesn't go on as an inquiry. And we can pull your credit, soft pull. We can get your scores, and we can still pre-qualify you based on that. And then number 2, your pre-approval, since we've done the soft pull, your pre-approval is good until you're ready to buy a house, because as long as your debts, your finances, which is your income, your debts, your income have not changed, then we should be fine. If nothing has changed, then your pre-approval is still good. Now, if you get pre-approved today and then next week you go out and buy a minivan, well, okay, that pre-approval is voided because now the debts have changed. So that is something that could change, but as long as nothing has changed, your pre-approval is good for as long as you need it to be. Now, once you go under contract and you're actively looking and you find a house, that's when we'll go in and pull your credit and get it all updated at that time. So this chart, so back in 2004, this blue line is showing the demand for a house. So this is your consumer demand for a house. And the orange line is the permits pulled to build a house. So as you can see, 2004, 2005, we still had a lot more inventory. And then the crash started to happen from 2008. So as you can see, less consumers were looking to buy, and there was a huge surplus of inventory. And so it started going down. Builders were hesitating. That, inventory went down. So it kind of evened out. And then as you can see in 2017, the demand to buy a house was greater, but the inventory was low. And then we saw that year after year after year after year. So if you're seeing that compound effect, like a snowball, there's not enough permits being pulled for consumers to be buying a house. And so I always say, Mr. Customer, what is it in this chart that suggests that there's going to be more houses than what customers are going to need? And usually they'll say nothing, So I always refer back to COVID. Everyone thinks, oh, this happened because of COVID. But if you really look at it, this started happening in 2017 before COVID hit. And so when COVID hit, as an analogy, with the eggs at the supermarket, eggs, there was a very, very rare shortage. And so the prices of eggs went up because of the supply and the demand. Same thing with toilet paper. Everyone needed the toilet paper. They were staying in their house forever. And so the supply for toilet paper was down and the demand was up. So what happened to the prices of toilet paper and eggs? they went up. I mean, that's just supply and demand at its finest. And so what's going to happen if there's a greater demand to buy, but the inventory is low? Prices are not going to go down. They're going to continue to go up because the demand for a house is greater. And so I love to show this to the customer. And so I always, I mention this to them. I also go over the appreciation forecast. So if they're on the fence, Mr. Customer, here's the area. This is Collin County. We can pull any county, any city that they're looking at. If they've really narrowed down their search, we can pull this from anywhere. And so we can show the estimated appreciation for the next 5 years. And so it's the compound effect. So it's usually the national is like 3 to 4%. So we're going to stay within that range, but 2.92%, and then it compounds 4%, and then it compounds and it compounds and it compounds. And so after 5 years, they can see that their appreciation was, 56,000 in this situation. So average per year is 2%, guys. Right now it's really at like 3 or 4, but we're being conservative and with 2%. So right now, remember, the gold is in the maybes. Contacting that database like crazy, guys. People are re-entering that market. They're fearful, and they're fearful of getting their credit pulled. How long is that pre-approval going to last? Prices are going to be dropping. Well, guys, they're not going to be dropping. And let me show you this chart. So this is a chart that we pulled. We compiled with our team, and we went back from 1942, showing the appreciation rates and then the interest rates. And so there's only been 4 times since then that we've had double-digit appreciation rates year after year. So for example, in 1976, the interest rate was 9%. I mean, gross. That is not a very attractive interest rate. But if you bought and you did that 9% rate, that next year you had a 15% growth in appreciation, and then you had 16%, and then you had 14%. I mean, wouldn't you have liked to have double-digit appreciation 3 years in a row with a compound effect? Who really cares about that 9%? Because eventually you're going to rewrite that loan. And then we never went negative. It was always a 7%, 1%, even 0%. I would take a 0% appreciation over a negative. The only time we ever hit negative appreciation was when the housing crash in 2008. And this is a national average. So negative 5%, negative 12%, negative 4%. But look, it bounced back. A couple years ago, 2020, 2021, we had double-digit appreciation rates. So guys, I know people are focusing on the rate. What's the rate? What's the rate? But in reality, unless we educate the client of how the rates work, they work, daily with the bonds, the supply and the demand, and positioning them of, okay, take the little bit higher rate right now with the lower price, because right now is the sweet spot, the best time to buy before the crazy market hits in the summer or the spring. And then we can always rewrite that loan later. We do a full analysis for all of our clients, what that would look like for them. Also, renters. I have a client or an agent sent me a client, and they were really on the fence about buying because their lease wasn't going to be up until June or July. Well, guys, they need to start looking now, because the way mortgages work, you're always going to skip a mortgage payment. So for example, they were pre-approved with another lender. They didn't want to move forward because they were waiting a little bit closer to what their lease is up. And so the realtor reached out to them and said, hey, I would like for you to get a second opinion from a local trusted lender that, is amazing, well-known, and just to get that second opinion. And so reached out to me, and after all the things, did all the analysis, went over the pre-purchase consult with them and advised them, hey, if you start looking now in January and, maybe even into February, let's say you go under contract in February, you're closing in March, you're going to skip April payment, and then your first payment's not going to be till May. Well, if their lease is up in June, the beginning of June or what have you, they're not going to be making double payments. So after explaining this to them, they told me, which was shocking, My other lender didn't say that. My other lender didn't explain that to me. I have no idea why, because now is the best time to go out and look for the home before the prices go up. So how to get a second opinion? Your clients probably come to you already with the pre-approval letter, and that's great, but you're wanting them to get a second opinion. And so a great reference, just be like, Mr. Customer, when you go under contract, you're going to have to write a pretty hefty deposit check, your earnest money and option fee. And what I would hate to happen is your financing go through and you're not going to be able to get that monies back. So would it be okay if we got a second opinion from a local trusted lender to see if there's any blind spots, or is there anything that we might be missing to help you get the best financial loan for you and your family? Are they going to say no to that? No, because you're really just using it as an insurance policy. It's okay. You should get a second opinion on the largest debt and asset that you are going to get in your lifetime. Just like if you're going to go to the doctor and they diagnose you with something, and are you just going to take their word for it? Probably not. You're probably going to go get a second opinion. Same with this, guys. This is the largest debt and asset that they're going to get. So use the script. Would it be possible to get a second opinion from a local trusted lender? And the reason why I say that is for more of an insurance policy, to make sure that your financing is set up correctly and you're not going to lose your earnest money. I know your aunt, your uncle, your cousin, your friend of a friend might be really great at what they do, but getting a second opinion for one of the largest debts and assets that you're going to get wouldn't be that harmful. So usually they're not going to say no. And then the last thing is, so 2024, guys, the word of the year is affordability, literally affordability. Last year, it was about rates are going up. And then now it's affordability, because now that people are coming off of the sidelines, or getting off of the fence and moving forward, we have to figure out how to get these first-time home buyers to afford a house. Yes, rates are coming down, but purchase prices are going to be going up. And so one of the things that we do is we do a full financial analysis for them. It's not just, okay, here's, I got your application, and here's your pre-approval. No. Again, like I said earlier, this is the largest debt that they're going to have. So we always do let me pull this up real quick. We always do, once we pull credit, we do a full what if simulator. And so we can go in and do a full analysis of, okay, your score right now is a 696, Mr. Customer, but by doing this, we could actually get it up to 834. Now, this was a client in the past that we ran this for, and it saves them so much money. This particular situation, just by running it and doing this a value to the customer, they were able to get $35,000 more in purchase power just by immediately paying down a credit card that boosted their score from a 696 to an 834. And so if you go, I'm going to go to the internet real quick. So if you go to Google, and this is public knowledge, guys, you can look at this. Fannie Mae LLPA. So these are the adjustments in all of Fannie Mae loans and their rates. Okay, so this is the purchase one. So this particular customer that I had just pulled up, they would be in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th bracket. And if they're just putting 5% down, they're going to be getting an adjustment of 1.375 to the rate just because of their credit score. Not to mention their mortgage insurance per month is going to be much higher because that's based on the credit score. So by us doing them a favor and a value to them with one of the largest debts that they're going to have in their life, they increase theirs over 800, which now puts them at the top tier. And now they're only getting a 0.25 adjustment to the rate. And that mortgage insurance is going to be a lot less because now their credit's better. So what is that going to do for your client? They're going to be able to go out there and buy that extra bedroom home or that extra garage or the house with the pool that they really want for their kids for the summertime. So these are things that other lenders may or may not be doing, but if your lender is not doing these or running these simulators for your clients to see what is the max credit score we can get them to the better interest rate, then guys, they're doing them a disservice. You're doing them a disservice. Get that second opinion, send it to me. I'm happy to run these analysis for all of our clients. And I show them everything. So don't just tell your clients. If your client calls you and says, hey, what are the rates doing this week? Or what does the housing market look like? And then if you go on the phone, you're like, well, you know, supply and demand, you know, there's still less houses than people are wanting to buy. So, well, they're savvy. They're going to go on the internet. We have internet at our fingertips. We have social media everywhere, all in our faces. Show them these charts. And it's going to make them more sticky to you, and they're going to trust you, and they're going to value you because now that you've provided them with some value. So basically in 2024, I want you to think of me as your quarterback. I'm not just your lender, I am your quarterback. So the name of the game is affordability to these buyers right now. And so when you're going out there and you're getting leads, I am your quarterback. I'm going to go in and I want to see what the game plan is going to be. I'm going to run all these analysis for your clients. We're going to pull up all this stuff. We're going to educate them and we're going to show them these charts. And then so whenever I send them back to you, they are fully empowered and ready to go under contract and look for houses. And you feel comfortable and confident writing that contract for them. So guys, I know we have 4 minutes left. I just vomited a whole bunch of information and charts at you. So if you want a copy of any of these charts, let me know. I will get them sent out to you. We are going to be doing another webinar class February 28th. I'm going to be hosting these every month for you to give you more empowerment and knowledge of what's going on in the market, what we're seeing, and some ideas to help you while you're out in the field. The next class is going to be about our buy now, sell later program, where you can write a non-contingent offer and buy a house before you sell it. And so it's an amazing program, especially coming into this fast and furious spring and summer season. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me, Kara@themortgagescouts.com. If there's a certain subject that we went over today real quick that you want to dive a little bit deeper into, reach out to me. We can get on a one-on-one Zoom call. I'm happy to do that. Maybe go over some scripting or what you're seeing in the market. I'm definitely happy to help in any way that I can. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks.